All right, Shalom Israel. First and foremost, as always, I would like to give all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachaha, Kwadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four corners of the earth, pushing His truth and sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai's return, and double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right, this is the video going into Donald Trump addressing the World Economic Forum. I'm going to go ahead and unmute the video and continue from there.
If it stopped, they are shocked that it continues to go. They're very friendly with me. They're shocked that people continue to buy those damn things. They killed the birds. They ruin your landscapes. Other than that, I think they're fabulous, by the way. Stupid people buy them. The consequences of such destructive policies have been stark, including lower economic growth, lower standards of living, lower birth rates, more socially disruptive migration, more vulnerability to hostile foreign adversaries, and much, much smaller militaries. The United States cares greatly about the people of Europe. We really do. I mean, look, I am derived from Europe, Scotland and Germany. 100% Scotland, my mother, 100% German, my father. And we believe deeply in the bonds we share with Europe as a civilization. I want to see it do great. That's why issues like energy, trade, immigration, and economic growth must be central concerns to anyone who wants to see a strong and united West. Because Europe and those countries have to do their thing. They have to get out of the culture that they've created over the last 10 years. It's horrible what they're doing to themselves. They're destroying themselves. These beautiful, beautiful places. We want strong allies, not seriously weakened ones. We want Europe to be strong. Ultimately, these are matters of national security, and perhaps no current issue makes the situation more clear than what's currently going on with Greenland. Would you like me to say a few words of Greenland? I was going to leave it out of the speech, but I think I would have been reviewed very negatively. I have tremendous respect for both the people of Greenland and the people of Denmark, tremendous respect. But every NATO ally has an obligation to be able to defend their own territory. And the fact is, no nation or group of nations is in any position to be able to secure Greenland other than the United States. We're a great power, much greater than people even understand. I think they found that out 2 weeks ago in Venezuela. We saw this in World War II, when Denmark fell to Germany after just 6 hours of fighting and was totally unable to defend either itself or Greenland. So the United States was...
So, you see that in the video right there. Trump says that U.S. wants strong allies, and they have called Europe weak. They called Europe stupid, and telling them that they've basically been scammed, and their profits from Greenland and China's not even he says something along the lines like China is not even using what they have bought from Europe. Now the Bible also says this. Let me see. I wonder if I have my Blue Letter Bible pulled up on my phone here. Bear with me for one moment. You see. Okay. Because the Bible says whose look is more stout than his fellows. So we can see how the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bashem Yahawashai, is putting a division between the great whore and the beast. And we know that the great whore, which is Mystery Babylon the Great, which is the United States of America, okay, we can see how their looks is more stout than their fellows. Let's real quick, who look was more stout than, and now you begin to see why Obadiah 1:7 is going to come to pass. So it's more who look. Yeah, let's put that in there too. You see, whose look was more stout than his, and then I'll just put KJV in there because the internet don't know how to properly look for scripture unless you put KJV in there. Otherwise, they're just going to give you alternative versions. Daniel chapter 7 verse 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head. Now, you know what? Let's pull up the Blue Letter Bible. And let's go to Daniel 7, but in the KJV first. Let's go to the Old Testament and go to the book of Daniel. Because Daniel speaks of a fourth beast that would arise and would be diverse from any other beast that was before it. In which this fourth beast, let's see, Daniel, and I'll just start at 3, Daniel chapter 7, verse 3. And 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. Okay, the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. This will be the Neo-Babylonian Empire. Okay, I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given unto it. Okay, verse 5 goes into, and behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in his mouth. Okay, which I believe the 3 ribs were this bears the Medo-Persian Empire. The 3 ribs, I believe, is Lycia, Egypt, and Babylon. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, so it had 3 ribs in his mouth, right? Now this is when the Medes and eventually the Persians took over Babylon, ancient Babylon. Okay. So we know that ancient Babylon was never destroyed. It just went through a transition of power. But you know, that's a lesson for another time. So it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. They said, thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. Okay, and after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast also had, now this leopard is talking about the beginning of the Greeks rising up into power, because the rulership of the Greeks started with Alexander, who would be this leopard because this leopard is a metaphor right here, right? Alexander will be this leopard right here, which would represent the rise, the beginning of the rulership of the Greeks, or the beginning of the rulership of the Edomites, excuse me, which the biblical Edomites will be the self-proclaimed white man, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given unto it. And the 4 heads is talking about the 4 generals, which will be Cassander, Lysimachus, Ptolemy, and Seleucid. Okay, now in the book of First Maccabees, it tells you that they put crowns upon themselves, meaning they made themselves rulers, and evils were multiplied in the earth. Now, after this, I beheld, and lo, another light. Oh, excuse me. Now, let's read verse 7, because verse 7 is going into the beginning of the peak of Edomite rulership, which will be the Roman Empire. So, Daniel chapter 7, verse 7, right? After this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. Now, the great iron teeth is talking about the Roman military, because when you do your research, the Roman soldiers were known for fighting with swords made from iron. So the great iron teeth of this beast will be its military. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, because all of the other rulerships prior to that had a monarch, okay? And they had a monarch and a prince, which the prince will be the heir to the throne. So whenever the king would die, the prince would take to the throne and would become the new king. But a part of what made the Roman Empire diverse from all the other rulerships was that they had Caesars. And the Caesars did not necessarily have full power and control over the whole empire. Okay, because the Senate, which was also known as the Old Man, okay, the Senate, which consisted of, I believe they said 60 to 80 people that would attend the council, and they all would have a council as to who would be Caesar over Rome. Okay, but ultimately the Senate was the one pulling the strings of the Caesars from behind the scenes. So ultimately, the Caesars were more like puppets. Kind of like how you have a president of the United States that's no more than a puppet. But behind the scenes, okay, you got this shadow government telling your president what to do and what to say whenever they get up on the podium, whenever they get to these meetings, etc., etc. Okay, so this is what made this beast diverse from all the other beasts. Okay, you know, the Roman culture was diverse. Okay, so it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. And I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like a man. Now, this little horn right here, okay, is talking about, because what you got to understand about this little horn is that this little horn right here is going into the revival of Rome. Okay? So behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things, right? Okay, so now let's see. Daniel, what was it? Daniel 7:20. Okay, so now let's go down to verse 20. You know what? Let's start at verse 19. Daniel 7 verse 19. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which will be the Roman Empire, which was ruled by Edomites, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron and his nails of brass, which devoured, break in pieces and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn which had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. Okay? And we can see that America is more stout than their fellows, okay? Donald Trump just he goes, the president of the United States, he goes to these different meetings and he just says whatever he want to say, man, exalting himself above the other countries because that's the pride of these Edomites, okay? The stout, the look of America is more stout than their fellows, and you can see it in Donald Trump, okay? The way he talks. All right, let's continue.
This was then compelled. We did it. We felt an obligation to do it, to send our own forces to hold the Greenland territory, and hold it we did at great cost and expense. They didn't have a chance of getting on it, and they tried. Denmark knows that. We literally set up bases on Greenland for Denmark. We fought for Denmark. We weren't fighting for anyone else. We were fighting to save it for Denmark. Big, beautiful.
Whose look is more stout than their fellows, okay? Now, if we let's real quick look up Denmark, okay? Because if I remember correctly, I believe Denmark is one of the 10 horns, a part of the scarlet colored beast, which is NATO, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Just real quick, let's type in Denmark. Okay, let's see. Denmark country in Euro. Hey man, now something else I would like to do. Let's type in you know what? No. Not Google. Let's go to Bing.com. Bing. Okay, let's see. www.bing.com. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna type in GMS NATO chart. And I don't want to do an image creator. All right, so they want to be stubborn. We're going to do this. I'll type in images. Okay. No, not Google Images, Bing Images. Okay, then we're gonna type in GMS. What is this phone doing? Chill out. Did I ask you to do all that? We're gonna do no. We're gonna do GMS NATO GMS NATO chart, and let's see what pops up here. Alright, so obviously that's not gonna work. Let's type in Great Millstone. Great Millstone NATO chart. Okay, let's do NATO camp sign. Let's type in Great Millstone camp signs. So I want to pull up that NATO chart. Alright, Great Millstone camp signs. See, man. See, now they want to play stupid. They know who GMS is, man. The beast and the whore. The beast, man. Yeah, so obviously they're just gonna play stupid to look at that. They're showing a great millstone falling out the sky. Oh, nah, see, that great millstone is going to come in the form of nuclear missiles. It ain't talking about an actual stone, like a angel's going to show up, or like a bunch of angels is going to show up over the city and start raining big ass stones from the sky and shit, and they're just going to fall on people and crush them. Come on, man. So let me see. Obviously, and they definitely went off on this picture because the scriptures tell you that the beast with the 7 heads and 10 horns was a dragon. The Bible tells you that. Now I saw a beast come up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the dragon was wroth with the woman. No, Salakia. Let's go on into something else. Let me see. So, obviously, you know, but I believe Denmark is one of those 10 cities that that's a part of NATO. Okay. That's a part of not NATO, but a part of the EU. Denmark, okay. Denmark is one of those 10 cities. Okay, but Denmark is a country in Europe, as you see right there. Let's go ahead and go back to this.
And gave us perhaps the worst inflation in American history. They say 48 years, I say forever, but I think 48 years is the equivalent to forever. Whether it's 48 years or ever.
Trump says, I doubt NATO will be there for the United States like we have always helped them. Whose look is more stout than his fellows, okay?
It's terrible. Costing the typical family $33,000. What they did to this country should never, ever be forgotten.
You have a choice to give it to the U.S.
It's early, but he has to be rated as the worst president we've ever had by far. The auto pen did much of the damage. The auto pen, he was the auto pen president, because I don't believe a sane president would have ever signed the kind of things that he signed. But now grocery prices, energy prices, airfares, mortgage rates, rent, and car payments are all coming down, and they're coming down fast. We inherited a mess, but we've done a hell of a job in 12 months. Under my most favored nation policy for drug prices, the cost of prescription drugs is coming down by up to 90%, depending on the way you calculate. You could also say 5, 6, 7, 800%. There are two ways of figuring that. But we have a favored nations policy that every president wanted, no president was able to get. I got it, and other nations approved it. And I had to use tariffs in order to get it because they said, no way. In other words, a pill that cost 10% in London costs $130.
Salakia for pausing it. Let's type in, where is Greenland located? Okay, so let's do this. Where is Greenland located? Greenland located in which country? Greenland, history, Denmark, population. Okay. Let's see. Greenland, facts and photos. Located in the North Atlantic Ocean, Greenland is the world's largest land. The island, a territory of Denmark, is more than 3 times. So you see Greenland is a territory of Denmark, and they're saying that they want Greenland. Well, Mr. Donald Trump is saying that he wants Greenland, you see? And now you're beginning to see why, when you read Revelation, the 17th chapter, right? Let's go to Revelation 17. The beast shall hate the whore. The dragon shall hate the whore. Let me see. Okay. And Salakia, I know earlier I said the Bible said that it was a dragon with but let me see this. But anyways, I would like to do another lesson on Revelation 8. I would like to do a lesson on Revelation 18. Okay. Revelation 17 verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. You see that? Now Denmark is a part of those 10 horns. Okay, you see that? Denmark is a part of those 10 horns. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. How's that going to happen? Well, NATO is going to shoot their intercontinental ballistic missiles upon the United States of America. Because remember, who's the whore? Which is Mystery Babylon the Great. That's the United States of America. Okay, the beast, the beast is talking about NATO. Okay, well, with the 10 horns. So it says in it's verse 17, for Yahweh have put it in their minds to fulfill his will and to agree to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. And the words of Yahweh is all of the words of Yahweh is about to be fully fulfilled. Okay, and the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. And that woman is talking about the United States of America.
Think it cost $10 in London, cost $130 in New York or in Los Angeles. And I'd say, boy, that's bad. Friends of mine would say, you know, we go to London, you can buy the stuff for nothing. We go all over the world, we could buy it for nothing. Because basically America was subsidizing every nation in the world. Because presidents allowed them to get away with it. It became very tough. So when I called up Emmanuel Macron, I watched him yesterday with those beautiful sunglasses. What the hell happened? But I watched him sort of be tough. But he was at $10 for a pill. And I said, Emmanuel, and I have all the big pharmaceutical companies are in total agreement. It wasn't easy, by the way. They're tough, smart. They've been getting away with this scam for a long time. But they gave it up. But they said, you'll never get the countries to approve it. I said, why is that? Because they won't. They always said, we're not paying any more. Get the rest for the United States. So over the years, they stayed the same. We just went up, up, up. And I mean, we would pay 13, 14, 15 times more than some certain countries would. So I said, no, they'll approve it 100%. Sir, you'll never get them to approve it. I said, I guarantee you. But I actually started with Emmanuel, who probably is in the room too. And I like him. I actually like him. Hard to believe, isn't it? And I said,
anyways, you can watch the rest of this video. Hey man, the beast shall hate the whore. With that, I'm gonna say shalom. It's on to the next one.